Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. I hope you're doing well. Welcome to part 2 of my recent reads of this year. Thank you all so much for the feedback on the last video. I truly appreciate it. The books we're going to be talking about today: Heart of the Sun Warrior, Lynn Tan. Funny Story, Emily Henry. This Thing Between Us, Gus Moreno. I know in the last video I said I was going to talk about Tuesdays with Maury, but this book has such a special place in my heart, and I want to make a standalone video for it soon, just so I can take my time with talking about it. For today, we're gonna be talking about these 3 books, and I want to quickly piggyback on my reading methods that I mentioned last video, because another thing that helps me read more is by reading books that are 300 pages or below, and then listening to the audiobook version of books that go beyond that 350 page count. Because sometimes the satisfaction of finishing a book makes me want to read more. So if you're reading books, completing more books, it makes you feel more accomplished. So that may or may not also help. And I also forgot to give Death of a Salesman a rating. I give it a 4. 4 stars. Now, the books. First, we have Heart of the Sun Warrior by Lynn Tan. This is book 2 of the Celestial Kingdom duology. I started listening to it in around 2023 when I was working this one warehouse job, and instead of listening to music while I worked, I listened to this audiobook. And the first book was so captivating from start to finish. The romance, the drama, the action. Book 1 alone was a 5-star read, so flash forward to this year, I'm quite excited to listen to book 2, but I was nervous that book 2 wouldn't amount to how good book 1 was. You know, sequels can be hit or miss, but this sequel delivered. It was such a good sequel. The story starts with Shingen, who once lived a quiet life with her mom on the moon. Her mom was sentenced to imprisonment on the moon, which Shingen didn't know about. And when the Celestial Kingdom put her under scrutiny, they almost found out that she had a secret daughter. So Shingen had to leave to go to the Immortal Realm and start a new life with a new identity there. Things happen. Fast forward, Shingen gets really strong. She stands against the Emperor and she frees her mom from her imprisonment, and her friends live happily ever after until General Wugong makes things bad. Like I said, book 2 delivered. It immediately went to the action. Immediately things got intense and we were pulled into that intensity, and things were happening. And that intensity did not slow down at all. The romance did not disappoint. When the romance first came into play, I'm not going to spoil what happens, but I thought it would disappoint. But Lynn Tan somehow made it work. I'm sorry if I'm saying that wrong. The balance between maintaining this exciting romance and exciting action and making it all work with the plot is so good. I love her writing. Her wordplay, her metaphors, it just sucks you into the world. And the audiobook, I believe, made the experience all the more better because Natalie Naduz, I believe her name is, did such a good job. From start to finish, from book 1 to book 2, the duology is a banger. I wish I got the hardcover of Heart of the Sun Warrior, but whatever. They still look nice together. Next, we have Funny Story, Emily Henry. With how intense Heart of the Sun Warrior was, I wanted to listen to something that was more easygoing, and that's what led me to reading Funny Story. I love a good rom-com. You can't go wrong. After all the serious books I've been reading recently, this was a refreshing listen. Don't get me wrong, I love my serious books, but sometimes you just gotta mix it up. The story starts with Daphne, a librarian who was supposed to get married to the well-rounded gentleman Peter, until Peter called off the wedding so he could be with his childhood friend Petra, and they essentially kicked Daphne to the curb. Daphne, needing a place to stay, decided to room with Miles, Petra's ex, who was also going through a similar situation of being broken up with to be with their childhood friend. We see how Daphne and Miles' relationship grows as they fake being together, and we just see how they navigate the ups and downs of this weird situation. This was a pleasant read. This was, in fact, a funny story. There were lines that would make me visibly chuckle, and it was nice seeing such an unorthodox situation play out in a way that not only shows how Daphne and Miles handle it, but also shows them learning more about themselves, their past, and everything of that sort, understanding what they truly want out of life. Even with it being a rom-com, there's also themes that can also resonate on a deeper level, such as how the way we're raised as kids plays such a part in our adult life and our relationships and how we act. It was solid, it was funny, but if I were to give one hot take, the first impression that we get of Miles being a slob, kind of a stoner, didn't really hold throughout the book. I was expecting that archetype of his character to be much more challenging for him and Daphne's relationship throughout the book. Maybe wrong, but that's something that I noticed. But aside from that, it's a solid book. Funny, romantic. It's a solid rom-com. 4 stars. And last but not least, we have This Thing Between Us, Gus Moreno. Just thinking about it got me like, oh my gosh. I saw someone review this book, and the themes of loss and grief and psychological horror intrigued me, so I decided to read it. And it was not what I was expecting at all. The book is wild. This story is about Thiago, who tragically loses his wife to involuntary manslaughter. And the weight of dealing with press and family makes him move away from the bustling Chicago to the more quiet Colorado. And prior to his wife's death, they were experiencing some supernatural, strange occurrences. And this supernatural force followed Thiago even after he moved and after his wife's passing. This book is tragic. It's unsettling. It sends us on a downward spiral, and it left me shook throughout reading most of it. I'd ask myself, how could things possibly get worse? And then things somehow kept getting worse. As someone who has lost his fair share of family members, there are things that I could relate to and things that resonated, which made me enjoy it all the more. But the ending was all over the place, which I think was intentional, but a lot of things in the ending either went over my head or was purposely meant to be confusing. Regardless, it threw me off. But everything leading up to the ending was great, and I was immersed in and I understood. Imagine a song with its crescendo being pure chaos. That's what it felt like to me. And even though it threw me off, I feel like that chaos just made the experience all the better. If you like the movie I'm Thinking of Ending Things, or just A24-esque films and psychological and supernatural horror, this is the book for you. This is 4.5 stars for me. I noticed that I am not very critical when it comes to rating. 5 stars means that it is amazing. I would reread. It is perfect in every way. 4.5 stars means that it's amazing. It's really good. There may be 1 or 2 things I can nitpick at, but aside from that, would reread. 4 stars means that it's also really good, really amazing. Probably wouldn't reread it, but it's still a book that I hold in high regard. 3 stars, mid. Not the best book I've read, but far from the worst. 2, not good. It's enough for me to read the whole thing, but not enough for me to remember or hold in any high regard. And 1 just means it's bad. I don't know of a book that I could possibly put in 1. And if I did, it would most likely be a DNF. So that wraps up my recent reads. What I'm currently reading, Blood Brothers, Elias Shakur. It's a book that talks about Palestine. I'm learning a lot about the things that's happened within Palestine and the whole political aspect of it over the decades. It's wild that this stuff has been happening for so long. Rage of the Dragons, Evan Winter. I'm on chapter 5, and chapter 4 had me like that. Merciless. Crazy. I love how it's integrating African culture into this fantasy world. Really enjoying this journey so far. And what I got on my TBR is Asada autobiography. I'm not sure which one of these I'm gonna pick, but either Stoner, John Williams, or Against the Grain by J.K. Huseman, and The Man Who Lived Underground by Richard Wright. On my previous video, someone recommended that to me, so I will be checking it out. Thank you for that recommendation, by the way. It's nice being able to share my reading journey on here. It's super cool. With that, I hope you enjoyed the video. Take care. Peace.